Wow. Wow. Um, what an episode. What an episode. That's that was really, really madness. I loved it. I thought it was fascinating as hell. I mean, everything about it, but mostly and most importantly, Ozar Isaac performance. Oscar Isaac. I'm sorry. It was just outstanding, man. I was left in tears when the episode ended. I was left in tears. Um, wow, it broke me. It did, and it's unusual because it's not like I typically cry mainly when I see movies about dogs, and I get emotional there because I love them. And every time I see a movie about dogs, it's just like I don't know, I just cry. Like I have this innate need of crying, and but those type of movies are completely different from this. This is just a mind fuckery. This is just all psychological thriller. I mean, this episode in itself, I mean, it's a psychological thriller, and it moved me so much, mainly because of all. It's okay. Let's go by parts. I loved first of all the fact of how they have to balance the scales, of these two hearts of Mark and Steven in order for them to rise, and be able to to save Lila and to stop bad things from happening. And I loved how they were discovering bit by bit Mark's past and how Steven actually got to find out about so many things about his past that he had no memory of. Of course, he had no memory of because Mark created him subconsciously. He created this persona for him not to suffer, not to remember all the bad things about his past, which it was all about. We usually, what I loved about it is how they sort of. I'm not sure about how much of the comic, this part of the comics is actually true, but the fact that they changed the narrative, usually, typically, sometimes when person, an adult, has childhood trauma, it's mainly because they suffered. Well, at least it's what they usually show on TV shows or movies. It's usually the father's fault. Um, I mean, usually, but of course, it's not necessarily. This is not the case. Actually, the abuse that he suffered when he was a kid, it came from his mother, and I mean, Oscar's performance of reliving that moment, or not really reliving that moment, but seeing that moment and seeing everything that happened in his childhood, and everything that he actually had to do to survive. I mean, everything that he missed, or all those moments, all those it was so beautiful to see that. It was he nailed it. He just, it was completely outstanding. I mean, he steals the show. He steals this episode at least. He is on another level. And Ethan Hawke, I love the fact that his character served the purpose of, the doctor, and sort of like trying to keep him, like, it's ironic because he's supposed to be like the bad guy, but at the same time, in his head, he believes to be, like the one who's like guiding people towards their journey in destiny. Like, for instance, with his cane, right? At the beginning, we see him that he is the one who's supposed to judge those who either committed or will commit a crime and execute them, basically. Execute them, right? And in this episode, he serves the purpose of like guiding Mark, allowing him to opening up, to finally reach out to his true self, and he wasn't like really the bad guy, he was just like the guide, and he serves that purpose. And I mean, again, like I said, I really enjoy this episode in general. I love the fact that there was this sequence where Steven goes from going through the stairs, keep going up the stairs, as he was discovering something new, meaning he was getting to the surface of it all. Or you could say he was going deeper into his psyche, and I really, really enjoyed that. I mean, everything about this episode. This episode is probably the most. It's perfection, sublime, chef's kiss. Mainly, I mean, the performance. I mean, everything about it. It was fantastic. I honestly thought at some point, honestly, if I am a bit, however, disappointed, but not entirely, because I honestly thought that they were gonna bring up Jake into the scenario, but they did not. I don't know if that's actually gonna come up. I do know that about the comics. He actually has a third personality, which is Jake, and he's a cab driver in New York City. But I don't know if they're gonna actually do that, or if they might not go through. They might not go down that road. But I'm not disappointed at all with this episode. This episode is just fantastic. This episode is just amazing. And the end of it, what I loved about it is how, at the end of it they connect, and Steven tells Mark, it's not your fault. What happened? It's not your fault. And that is true. People, kids who suffer childhood trauma, they usually blame themselves, and they live their lives thinking that it was their fault, but it's not. It's somebody else's voice in your head telling you that it's your fault, but it's not. And I love that Steven told him that, and I love that part. That's one of the parts that I cried. And it's amazing. It's fantastic because it had so much heart and so much. At the same time, it was all mental. It was all mental, mate, and I loved it. And I'm looking forward so much to what they're gonna do with this character next. Not just in the next episode, but in upcoming projects. Because, again, I mean, Oscar is amazing at it, as he usually is in everything he does. And I think it's just fantastic. It's terrific, and I looking forward for season finale. Probably gonna do a live reaction, maybe, thinking about it, but we'll see. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, and as always, take